So now we'll move ahead to material costing. What we are going to discuss here is one is material control. In material
Okay.
control, which is nothing but what do you understand? Like even in the introduction, we saw about cost reduction and cost control, right? So what is actually controlling costs means what are the possibilities by which we can control costs? Like how
Um,
could you
but
control costs? Like if you need to buy some
review your
stationery means
financial review your financial statements and then make decisions on where we are spending more and where we can cut down a little bit. That is
okay.
cost
Say for
control.
our own house expenses itself, where would be the like one thing control when we say one thing is whether something is unnecessary. If something is
Yeah.
unnecessary, then that could be cut down. Okay. But if something is not unnecessary, then how else can we control the cost?
Uh,
It is necessary,
keep
but how else can we control?
changing where we get our purchases from.
Yes. So depending on where we are going to buy, right? So where we are buying or what is the price at which the supplier is selling the product. So we would make some basic comparison of the prices, right? Even when we buy from one shop to another, we make that price comparisons. So by doing that as well, we will be able to control the costs. So whatever applies for the cost control, same applies for whether it is material, labor, or whatever. The controlling cost is the same. So when it comes to material, the controlling part of it is to decide on where do we buy such and compare across the suppliers who would be providing the materials. But we need to see the point we need to remember is cost is to be controlled. At the same time, the quality of the product should also be not compromised. So it is that optimum level of what the decision which we need to make that comes by comparing both the quality as well as the cost and the timeliness by which the supplier would be providing us the materials, right? Like that, we see the various factors and control the cost of such materials. And we will also be discussing about material procurement and material storage. We'll be seeing that in detail in the next slides. Then there are various stock levels. Like you need to have a minimum this much quantity of materials. What is the maximum quantity of materials you need to maintain? And economic order quantity, of course, which is a separate topic as such, which is like very important. Like most of the problems would be coming from the economic order quantity. Then there is a slight discussion on inventory turnover ratio, like comparing, like with respect to the inventory versus the revenue. What is the link between that? What is the ratio which is maintained? And valuation of the stocks. There are various methods of valuing. We will be discussing the major methods of valuing. That is the FIFO, LIFO, weighted
iPhone.
average, and the specific price cost. Then we would also be discussing on normal and abnormal losses. So in those cases, how we are being going to consider it in costing as a subject. Then finally is waste, scrap, defectives, how to deal with that. Like in out of the materials which we receive, if there are any scrap materials, right? If we received any defective materials, if there are wastage, then how to account for those costs in our cost accounting books. All these we'll be discussing in this chapter. Okay, next. Uh, why we need to have a control on the material cost is the major factor is to avoid any overstocking. What happens when you overstock like the raw materials? What happens? Like
It
you
goes
need,
to
yeah,
or
what
it will
happens?
depends on the type of goods you're storing. If it's something like perishable goods, then obviously you'll be at a loss. Otherwise, it will
Hmm.
just to the next financial year.
Yes, correct. So there is a
as
likelihood
open the
of
stock.
wastage. Yes. Or there is a likelihood of the product being expired, right?
Yeah,
So even if it is, there is a like overstocking, even if it is, say, something like it doesn't perish, but you need to do, you need to have your warehouse and the storage
yeah,
places.
warehouse cost is very high.
Yeah. For example, wood. Nothing happens to the wood, but in rainy season, from season to season, as it changes,
Yeah, it
then
will
there will,
spoil.
yeah, it will get
It will
spoiled.
start
Then,
costing.
for, yes, cost associated in maintaining those materials, right? So, um, all these costs are involved. That's why there is always need to stock the raw materials only whichever is aptly essential. So neither you do an understocking, like otherwise you cannot meet the demand of the customers, and there should not be overstocking. That's why material control is needed. And what happens if the stocks are not kept sufficient? Then there will be delay in your production process. Because of the delay, what happens? Your customers would go like dissatisfied, right? So neither overstocking nor understocking. Then you need to replenish the stock in time. How do you know that when you need to replenish the stock? That is what we will be discussing in the material costing. That is the economic order quantity. Like we will determine at a particular stock level. If my stock level, if the raw material stock level comes to this level, then I will make a fresh order for the new raw materials. Say, for example, your godown has the capacity to stock for 200 units. Okay. Depending on the time and how quickly you get the orders, your, say, your reorder quantity reorder level is um, 50 units. Okay. That means what? As soon as your raw material, like there'll be 200, 100, 70, and as soon as it reaches 50, you would place an order. So
Right,
how do you know at what level you need to place an order? That is what we would be calculating that is what we will be calculating. What is the level of the order, which we call it as the reorder level. So when the stock unit is at 50, it hits the reorder level, then I need to place an additional order so that by the time it takes for the order to come also, there will be some minimum level order. We will be discussing that. So there is a minimum level order. That means say 30 units. So even if there is some more time, extra time taken for the product to get delivered, for the raw materials to get delivered, you will have this reserve of these 20 units with which you can manufacture. Like this was the example which I'm giving is in a very small level. What we would be seeing is at these levels, you need to order for the next order. And the order also, it should not result in an overstocking. It should be sufficient enough, not adding extra costs. In such a way, you need to order. So the concept behind all the material costing is what, in order to spend an optimum way of incurring your material cost. The total cost of materials is not only about the materials, right? It also includes the cost which is associated to the storage. It also includes the cost associated in the transportation, right? For transporting and getting it to the location and the condition, all those are part of the material, raw material only, right? So considering all these together, we'll be planning in the material control.
right.
Okay, next we move like the call might end any like in 5 minutes, but you can just log in the sign in to the same link. Okay.
Okay,
So in material procurement and storage, so there is a protocol that every company would be following on how to have the what happened and on how to place an order and like where do they place the order? How do they what are the next steps they need to do in order to procure the materials? they have their protocols, because it is not only the ordering of the product, it is also ensuring that the quality of the product is good, right? So the quality should be good, raw materials of the quality should be good, only then the end product quality would be good, right? So all these needs to be considered. So there is a proper way, like step by step process by which they need to place an order. Like what materials, when I say what, it includes the quality of the materials, when they need to place the order, which is the timing. Like when the current level of orders, raw material stock reaches this level, then at that time they need to place an order. Then how much they need to order? That is the order quantity, economic order quantity. How much they need to place an
It's
order,
a
such a,
quotation.
yeah, such a way doesn't lead to overstocking, neither it has results in an understocking of the raw materials. From
All
where
right.
they need to, yeah, from where they need to place the order, once again, it is the suppliers comparing who would provide the raw materials, the costs, comparing the costs as well as the quality, and at what price. So they need to go. Like as soon as there is a need for materials, the raw materials, like the manufacturing unit, whoever is in charge of it, they will put a quotation on the, okay, there is a need for the raw materials. The need would be submitted by a an order, like a demo, like a memo kind of order. Like what I said was, we call it as a mock, right? Demo. Like that, there is a memo which is being issued by the raw manufacturing team, which is concerned
Yeah.
about the with the raw materials, and they would be searching and exploring who all are the suppliers. Based on the prices, then the orders are being placed, and then when the order is placed, when the raw materials are received, they need to inspect why whether the raw materials which they ordered are of adequate quality, or whether there are any like expired products, like that, so that quality check is done. And after the quality check, if yeah, it is at this stage where the goods would be returned. Like if the quality check is not being met, then the goods would be returned at this stage itself. And finally, whatever is the amount due, that will be settled to the suppliers. So this is the material procurement and storage, the process by which it is being done. Okay, next we go on to the reorder level. Reorder level is what in the example I mentioned, right? So when the total goods reaches 50 units out of the total, like if the entire manufacturing unit has the capacity to hold 200 units, then when the order reaches 50 units, at that time what will happen? When the order reaches 50 units, that is the level. So the reorder level is nothing but the level at which, as soon as the stock reaches 50 units, that means that is the level at which the company has to place an order. That is the reorder level. What is the reorder quantity? Which we call it as economic order quantity. So for economic order quantity, there is a separate formula, which is 2 into AS by C square root.